Hey everybody, in this video I am going to show you what I consider to be the best weighted carry for archers that I like to use to either relieve pain, fix injuries, or improve performance through strengthening of the upper body and developing endurance in the archer. Before I show you the weighted carry, I want to give you some really quick background information on the weighted carry and why I use that for strengthening archers. Think of the weighted carry as one of the main groups of exercises that we use to build archers. Some other examples would be pulling movements, very important for an archer. Pressing movements, very important to develop overall shoulder health and strength. Core movements to build the center. Those are some other examples. The weighted carry also fits in one of the major movement patterns that we use for archers because it's a great overall strength and stability builder for the upper body. There are a lot of different variations that I use for weighted carries. Some examples being a goblet carry, a farmer's carry, and the example I'm going to show you here. A couple of the really nice benefits for a weighted carry that make it a great fit for an archer is number one, time under tension. This transfers really well to an archer because whether you're a traditional archer and you shoot a recurve, a longbow, an Olympic recurve, we spend a lot of time under tension, particularly at full draw where we're bearing the full load of that bow. And during that time, we need to hold strong, we need to hold solid, we need to hold stable and steady. And the weighted carry does a great job of building strength in that same manner, which then transfers to the shot because we have to support that weight the entire time. In addition to that, if you're a compound archer, you're also spending time under tension because you're holding at full draw, you're establishing your aim, you're going through your shot process and your movement activation to execute your shot. So all of that time is spent under tension, and the weighted carry is a great way to build your ability to hold steady, solid, strong, and stable. On top of time under tension, another awesome benefit of weighted carries is that they have minimal impact or wear and tear. And what I mean by that is they don't involve a lot of joint bending or arm movement or flexing and extending of the spine and those things have great benefits all around, but sometimes it's a really beneficial component to have in your training to be able to build strength without having to have all of that bending and extending of a joint, or without having to have a lot of movement of the body. With a weighted carry, you can very simply get into position and then you can build strength as you hold that position and carry, march in place, or just simply hold. So build strength without wearing and tearing and getting some extra movement into your motion. The third and final thing that I really like about weighted carries, and you're going to see in this weighted carry as well, is that it is simple, whether you're a beginner or whether we want a piece for a workout where we don't have to think much and we can just get a lot of effective training done with a single movement. What I mean by that is, since the weighted carry just requires you to get into position and then walk and carry or march in place or hold, you don't have to spend a whole lot of cognitive power or time focusing on how you're executing a repetition or what path you're traveling in as you do a movement. Very simply, get into position, maintain that position, and then go from there. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a picture of why a weighted carry is beneficial to an archer. Even if you're not necessarily training for archery, this weighted carry is an awesome thing to throw into your strength training, whether you're focusing on muscle building, general health. I use weighted carries and this weighted carry that you're about to see for a lot of different purposes. So nonetheless, we'll jump into the carry itself. Here is the weighted carry. I refer to this carry as the waiter crucifix carry. And what I mean by that is one arm is going to be in the waiter position, which is approximately 90 degrees at the elbow, arm coming out perpendicular to your torso. The other arm is going to be down at approximately a 45-degree angle. You can vary that higher or lower if you prefer, but 45 is a good benchmark to use. And then from here, we would alternate as we go, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. The reason why I like this position so much for the archers, it does a really nice job of loading the entire shoulder girdle, which we need to be strong in archery. And if we look at this position, the waiter position does a great job of loading the front of the shoulder and then really places a large demand on the shoulder blade to anchor down and solid. as well as the entire upper back to hold this position where the arm is out in front and there's weight pressing down here, which I'll show you in a second. The other position is a really nice position for archery, this 45-degree angle, because we're gonna start to load the lateral shoulder and then some of the part of the rotator cuff that often is weak on archers or can break down with excessive repetition. So if we can strengthen it in this crucifix position, then when we go to shoot our bow in archery, whatever type of bow you shoot, and we accumulate repetitions, that musculature in that position is very solid and strong and resilient against all of the repetitions we shoot. Notice it's just a little bit lower and a little bit less aggressive than our position would be for our bow, so that transfers nicely. As we look at this position with weights, I'm a little bit mix-matched here, where I've got a kettlebell down low and I've got a dumbbell up top. You can use dumbbells for both. You can use kettlebells for both. The big principle to understand here is that we need a light to moderate weight up top in this waiter position. I'm going to put a ballpark number of around 5 to 20 pounds. Now I know that's a big range. If you're someone who feels like you're a stronger individual, you might be up towards that 20-pound mark, even a little bit higher, or you might be down a little bit lower if you're somebody who's just developing your strength or you don't have a great base of strength quite yet. So 5 to 20 pounds approximately up top. And then the down low arm is going to be a little bit heavier. Typically, we're going to look at about 10 to approximately 30 pounds there. Again, a big range of a big range for weights where we hold out at that 45-degree position. In that range, again, if you're somebody who feels they're stronger and has developed a base of strength, go up higher in that range, around 30 pounds, or you might be down a little bit lower around the 10-pound mark. So here is the position that we're going to carry, and now I'm just showing you here stationary, and even just holding in this position as is requires some work. And the principle again is that this would and will switch throughout the carry from side to side because we want both sides to get equal time with these positions as we carry. Now, before I give you some examples of how you can use this carry, focusing in on the principles of what you want to see as far as position here, we'll go starting at the core and then branch out to extremity. So when we do this carry, when you're holding these weights and supporting these weights as you carry, you want to be braced through the midsection. I like to describe it as like you're gonna get punched in the stomach where somebody walks up and they wanna poke you and you kind of clench and you tense. That's what you're looking to do here. Just some good tension and a presence of engagement throughout the entire midsection, and that comes from that bracing. Then as we're in this carry position, your two main keys for the shoulders are press them down into your back pockets. So I do not wanna shrug up. Press them down into your back pockets, and then a slight squeeze of the shoulder blades back together. So down into the back pockets, slight squeeze back. Since your arm is out in front in this waiter position or opposite, you're not going to be able to squeeze that shoulder back very far, and that is okay. As long as we're not rounded forward and we're not holding here, but instead shoulders are set back and set down, then you're going to be in a solid position there. As I was saying earlier, the great thing about this carry and carries in general for strengthening is that once you find those positions and you pick up your weights and you establish, okay, core tension, shoulders down and back, you're just staying there. All your job is to maintain those positions while you carry. I like to think about it as a checklist. As I'm carrying, as I'm walking, I'm thinking, okay, do I have that core tension? Can shoulders go down anymore? Should I squeeze back a little bit more? And you're just running through those couple of cues like a checklist, and that's all there is to it. Make sure you're in position and carry and move with the weight. I'm going to give you two simple ways to use this carry. And these strategies for this carry are assuming that you have a place to carry and move. If you don't, you can very simply march in place with high knees is preferred, or you can just hold and stand in place. The carrying or the marching is nice because it adds a little bit of erratic stabilization to the shoulders, whereas you're marching or as you're walking, these weights want to move, so your shoulders have to stabilize, and your goal is to hold as strong and stable and steady as possible. But if you don't have room to move, you can simply just hold in place for time. However, even if you have a stretch of 10 yards or so, that will be enough to do this carry. The first way that you can utilize this carry is is pick an overall distance. And what I mean by that is you might pick 200 meters, or you might pick 400 meters or 400 yards. And very simply, you're going to grab your weights and you're going to carry that distance, switching sides as needed. So let's say I've picked 200 yards is what I'm going to do for my carry today. I'm going to get in position like we talked about earlier, and then I'm going to begin that carry where I walk at a normal pace. You don't need to go fast. I check those positions and maintain those positions. And let's say, okay, I've gotten tired after 20 yards. I'm going to stop. I'm going to switch sides, get into position, and then I'm going to continue my carry. And you would switch throughout that distance that you've chosen until you complete the chosen distance. The second way that you can perform this is go with a time format with a time interval. So you may say, okay, I'm going to carry for 20 seconds in my positions. So I'm carrying for 20 seconds. Once I reach that 20-second mark, I'm going to switch sides and I'm going to carry for another 20 seconds until I'm done with that interval, and then I may rest for 20 seconds. That's just an example. There are many different formats that I like to use with my archers when I'm programming to change up the stimulus, challenge your muscles, and vary your work a little bit. But think about applying this carry for distance, a total distance, switching sides as needed, and then for a time format as well. That is the wader crucifix carry. It's a great total upper body builder for the archer as far as strength, endurance, building the shoulder girdle, stabilizing the shoulder joint itself, building the upper back strength, and then down through the core as well. And we also have a nice active component where we're challenged to stabilize and hold as steady and as solid and as strong as we can. Often people will ask, hey, what muscles does this work, or where should I feel it? I want you to get away from that mindset a little bit for this exercise because it is so comprehensive and there are so many muscles at work. You're likely going to feel the overall shoulder. You might feel some upper back. You might even feel it out into your arms a little bit. But think less about where should I feel this and think more about your position that you're holding in and maintaining that position. Where we said core tension, avoid any sort of arch in the lower back or leaning back. Try to stay vertical with your torso, shoulders down with a slight squeeze back. If you can maintain that position throughout the carry, then you can trust it and trust that, hey, this is giving me the benefits I need to strengthen, to build resilience in my upper body, to then transfer to shooting. I hope you enjoyed learning about this training tool. Apply it to your own training, make it fit for you and your goals and however you are training to build your fitness and build yourself up. If you want to see more training tools like this, please subscribe below with the subscribe button. Hitting the like button always helps as well. And you can see more training options at archerystrong.com. Thank you.